Do you like a movie with a great plot, great character development, fantastic CGI, maybe even practical effects? Well, this movie is not it.
Alrighty, so I watched Borderlands the movie yesterday, Thursday, right when it premiered. Got off work and then boom, went to go watch it. And from the get-go, I'll tell you, I was gonna give I gave it a fair watch. I went to go watch it. I wasn't just like, this looks like shit and I'm gonna judge it. I said, okay. I'm gonna give it a fair shot. And so here's the thing. From the trailers, honestly, I thought it looked cringe, but at the same time, I thought, well, the games are also kind of cringe too. And it kind of seems to have the vibe just a little bit. But, I kept thinking maybe it's one of those things where it just does not translate well to live action. Because one thing people will say, which is kind of weird, is they're like, oh, they're not taking it serious, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I've played Borderlands since it came out in 2009, and almost all the humor is like cringe teenage humor. Like, even replaying Borderlands 2, a lot of the humor, I'm like, this was definitely funnier when I was a teenager, and it's kind of just cringe now. It's still enjoyable, obviously. The best thing about something like Borderlands 2 is it knew when to be funny for the most part and when to be serious, and it blended those pretty damn well. And then the third one went to full-on cringe, and you could almost say this movie is more in line with Borderlands 3. But they do weird things like Mouthpiece from Borderlands 3 is in this movie, but it's not Mouthpiece, it's Crom from Borderlands 1, but there doesn't you took the looks of Mouthpiece but named him Crom. But Crom was also just a throwaway villain, and so was Mouthpiece. So it's really like, what are you doing? But there's a couple instances in the movie where I'm like, yeah, that seems like the cringe humor from the games, but there are some moments where it's really bad. And I'd say 60% of this movie visually, kind of looks like the game, I would say. Now, does that mean the CGI is good? No. But when it comes from a translation of the video game to live action, they tried something new. It kind of worked on like a little bit, but overall, I was like, maybe you should have just stuck to the 4 vault hunters going to find the vault. Because the cinematography sucks, the CGI sucks, the acting is so terrible. It's just a fast-paced movie where there's no time to build on anything. It's just boom, done, boom, done. This scene, we hate each other. 5 minutes later, oh, we magically like each other. It just skipped whatever character building scene. Oh, like, there's so much of, you go, am I missing something? Am I missing a scene? What is going on? Like, maybe it could have worked slightly better as a TV show, but in a condensed movie, you're like, they're doing way too much in such little time, and they're not focusing on anything that matters. You've got 4 characters, but there's virtually no character development for any of them. Kinda is for one, kind of, mostly. And it's been a long time since I've sat in a theater and like visibly cringed. And it wasn't like a haha because I want people to see me be like, ugh. No, I was sitting there just like, this is bad. Now, people are saying this is the worst movie ever made. I wouldn't say that. I would say this is a movie that like a 12-year-old could watch and be like, whoa, this is cool. But 2 things. As someone who's played the games, thoroughly and enjoys them, it was just like weird, just like no. And then for someone who's never played the games, like my wife, she was like, there's like, what is happening? There's so much happening, and they're not explaining anything, and things just happen where you're like, I don't. What even is this movie? So this movie almost doesn't seem like it's for anybody. Newcomers, fans of the game, nobody. It just, nope, makes no sense. And I don't want to just repeat what everyone already knows, which is like the movie's terrible. But I'm not gonna sit here and overplay it like so many people are on social media, where they're like, the worst movie I've ever seen, absolutely terrible. Like, oh my god, because it's not even a so bad it's good. It's just like, oh yeah, that was a dumb movie. I walked out, I was like, damn, I'm disappointed. And for some context, in the first game, there are 4 vault hunters looking for the vault. Lilith, Roland, which you see them both in the movie, and then there's Mordecai, who's like a skinny, more of like a rogue hunter class guy, and then there's Brick, who is, hulking man. So they don't show Mordecai, they don't show Brick, and Lilith is not a vault hunter in the movie. So I was like, okay. They did weirdly do Roland almost spot on. X Crimson Lance, all that. I was like, okay, they're actually doing that weirdly right, but changed everybody else. They show Krieg, Psycho Krieg from Borderlands 2, but do nothing with him. They basically went, oh, he was a funny playable character who screamed stuff. So let's just have him there in the background to scream stuff and horrible audio dubbed where his face doesn't move, but he's like, I'm gonna, rip your spine out. But he's like this. Even his eyes aren't like this. He's just like. And honestly, I didn't even mind Kevin Hart. I don't like Kevin Hart as a actor. I think he sucks. But as Roland, I didn't mind it, honestly. I felt like he had Roland's mannerisms pretty much down and acted like him. Yes, he's short, which is like, oh, that's kind of weird. But I was like, I don't know why everyone's complaining so bad. I was like, when you see Roland in Borderlands 2, he's basically just kind of like monotone, like, we need to do the right thing, blah, blah, blah. And, I don't know. There was this weird, like, in between Borderlands 1 and 2, you don't see any of the shit he's done. He's just magically leader of the Crimson Raiders. But people have this weird sense of like, oh my god, he, like, well, I'm sure read the comic books or whatever, but it's like, you never really see that. And then in the game, he is a leader. He's doing a good job, doing his best to keep Sanctuary alive. Could they have probably shown that more? Sure. But when it came to mannerisms and stuff, I was like, meh. Lilith in the movie, for the most part, I felt kind of acted like the character in the game, just even more of a certain word, just overplaying the grumpiness. I didn't really care about the age thing with Kate Blanchett because by Borderlands 3, Lilith does look older. When it comes to the stuff like that, you're going to notice Patricia Tannis, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, being the weird thing. Because in the game, she is like late 20s or early 30s. But, she's kind of like the narcissistic, like, actually, character. But in this one, it just comes off as crazed grandma who is, has like, I don't know, whatever disease or, something that causes your eyes to go like this. And she's like, oi, Dovolchki, just acting so over the top. And Tiny Tina, I feel like they got her mannerisms kind of right, but again, in live action, it's annoying as shit because in the game, she, Tiny Tina, she's like that, but you're just getting a mission from her and then you leave. The movie is like, no, she's here the whole time, which kind of sucks. They completely changed her origin, which was odd. Interesting idea, because I don't think in the games they ever did anything, not just with her character, but that specific kind of way to open the vault. I was like, okay, that's kind of neat, but you didn't have to do it with that character. I thought because they wanted to make it kind of like the game, they would do things like, the character introduction cards Or Roland would have his Scorpio turret, which in the game he lets out a turret that has a shield. So, just something. I thought they would work that in. They did not work that in. They show you Pandora, and of course I knew it. The other planet is Promethea that you barely see, but I mean, Pandora, for the most part, looks about how I would expect Pandora to look. Maybe missing some buildings and stuff, because they show Firestone, but it just, looks like a shithole, which it basically looks like a shithole in the game. But there's a little bit more buildings and stuff, more of a town feeling, and you don't see Dr. Zed. Or Dr. Zed or Ned, whichever one. You don't see him. You don't see Scooter, but at the very end, they show Ellie in a blink and you'll miss it scene. But they show Sanctuary, and Sanctuary in the movie, is like 5 times the size of Sanctuary in the game. Little stuff like that. They show Mad Moxie, but she doesn't really do anything. There's, subtle references, like they're trying to get through Sanctuary without being seen, so they wear these holographic masks, and they're basically the alt heads in the game that you can get. Because in the game, you can unlock different head skins. So the fake mask thing that they're wearing is basically that. So that was a little neat, but it was just, my main gripe of the movie is that it felt like they were skipping scenes. 1 minute they're not friends, 1 minute they're friends, 1 minute they're talking about, stuff as if they've already been friends for months. And there's just a lot of like, am I missing scenes in this movie? Is something cut? And then by the end, it just, nothing feels earned. And, it's just half-assed. Like, remember this from the game? Oh, we're only going to show kind of some of it. And I just, no. It was meh. If I had to rate it from 1 to 10, I'd say 3. With 5 being average, 3. I think you could probably make this a drinking with your friends funny watch, maybe. Besides that, no, it ain't, no. I mean, the CGI is so bad. The dialogue is so bad. Oh, God. I guess that's about it. There's like one scene that I thought was funny that it did kind of get like a out of me. And it's a scene with Claptrap, because overall I think they did Claptrap's character perfect, just about perfect, and acted just about how he acted in the game. They gave him an interesting origin story, which I was like, okay, that could work in a movie. But it was just so meh. It felt like this should have came out in like 2005, like obscure, like straight to DVD. We want to make a movie of a game. Here you go. And I mean, I was opening night yesterday, right when it came out, 4 other people in my theater, and this is a theater that can fit like 300 people. And so it was just so funny. There was nobody there. And this is a huge theater near me. Just nobody there, and it made me laugh so hard. But again, watch the movie for yourself, make your own opinions, but until next time, I'm out.